In the highlands of western Massachusetts, an Italian palazzo rises from manicured lawns. This is Wheatleigh, an estate once named among the best country houses in America. Hi everyone, Ken here. Hit that subscribe button and let's explore this house. In 1822, Henry Harvey Cook was born in upstate New York. He was the son of Constant Cook, a man who had risen from rags to riches, going from farming to becoming a judge and bank president. Being well connected, Henry moved his family to New York City in 1875 and became a director of several major rail lines, including the Union Pacific and the New York, Lake Erie, and Western Railroad. Banking was another pillar of his empire. He served as president of the Bank of Bath and later held directorships at institutions like the Van Norden Trust Company and the National Bank of North America. Cook's business acumen was matched by a shrewd sense of real estate timing. In June 1879, years before New York's Upper Fifth Avenue became synonymous with Millionaire's Row, Cook made a bold investment. He purchased an entire city block in Manhattan, stretching from 78th to 79th Street and Fifth Avenue to Madison Avenue. At the time, this area was largely undeveloped, but Cook anticipated the northward march of New York's wealthy. The move paid off spectacularly. By 1883, he built a statement residence on the block, an imposing, multicolored granite residence at 1 East 78th Street, designed by architect W. Wheeler Smith. Critics had mixed opinions about this massive house. One quipped it was respectable in spite of its monotony and irrationality of its detail, but it was undeniably one of the grandest homes in the city. Ever the strategist, Cook sold plots on his block only to those who agreed to construct palaces, ensuring his Cook block became one of Fifth Avenue's most exclusive enclaves. In the span of a few years, neighbors like Payne Whitney, Henry Rogers, and Stuyvesant Fish built mansions there, fulfilling Cook's vision of a private haven of luxury in Manhattan. Cook's lavish lifestyle extended beyond New York. Like many wealthy families of the era, the Cooks spent summers in cooler resort towns. In Newport, Cook acquired a mid-19th century cottage called Seaverge on Bellevue Avenue. In 1883, he commissioned Boston architects Peabody Stearns to significantly enlarge Seaverge into a 26-room villa overlooking the Atlantic. Seaverge was a coveted address. It sat near landmark estates like Rough Point, and under a later owner, it even became the first estate in Newport to boast an indoor tennis court and squash court. Newport might have been a practice in relaxation, but by the early 1890s, Cook set out to create the ultimate summer haven in Lenox. Wheatleigh was conceived around 1892 to 93 in the afterglow of Cook's youngest daughter Georgie's high society wedding. It's often said the estate was a wedding present for Georgie and her new husband, the Spanish-Cuban Count Carlos de Heredia, though in practice, the Cooks and the newlyweds all shared the home. To design the new mansion, Cook turned again to the esteemed Boston firm Peabody Stearns, the same architects who had developed his Newport house. They presented 5 design proposals in 3 distinct styles: Chateauesque, Scottish baronial, and Italian Renaissance, offering a range of Gilded Age splendor to Cook to choose from. Ultimately, everyone agreed that the estate's setting in the rolling Berkshire Hills was best suited for an Italian villa. Wheatleigh's architecture is a study in symmetry, classical proportions, and fine craftsmanship. The mansion, completed by 1894, is a 33-room structure of 2.5 stories, built from warm buff-colored brick accented with pale terracotta trim. Its lake-facing facade is perfectly balanced. A central block flanked by slightly lower wings, connected by hyphens to identical column pavilions at each end. A wide stone terrace spans between the pavilions, providing sweeping views of the grounds and lake. On the entrance side, guests approach via a curving driveway that delivers them to a formal entrance court. Here, a low brick wall and evergreen plantings partly enclose the forecourt, which is dominated by an octagonal marble fountain carved with shells and foliage. The front portico of the house features elegant ironwork and columns, marking a grand welcome for visitors. Period observers were duly impressed. The New York Tribune lauded Wheatleigh as an Italian villa, one of the largest and handsomest country places in Lenox. If the exterior exudes the refined restraint of an Italian Renaissance villa, Wheatleigh's interiors and amenities underscore the opulence expected of a Gilded Age estate. Front and center is the Great Hall, a nearly 1,300 square foot entrance hall so grand it could easily serve as a public reception room. Lofty arched doorways and colonnades frame the space, and sunlight filters through stained glass Tiffany windows that illuminate the hall with colored light. Beyond the Great Hall, Wheatleigh's first floor contains a suite of luxurious rooms designed for comfort and entertaining. In Cook's day, the dining room would have hosted elegant dinners featuring fine china and silver. Cook was, after all, an art collector who mingled with high society. We can imagine the table set with all its leaves in place, with guests in formal Victorian attire taking a seat with tapestries as their backdrop. Perhaps after dinner, guests might wander out to the loggia for some fresh air and to soak in the vista views stretching beyond the lake. Then, when coming back inside, we might find other guests lounging in the mini salons and sitting rooms, surrounded by fine artworks and antiques. Now about the rest of the estate. Wheatleigh's grounds and outbuildings were as thoughtfully designed as the mansion itself. Henry Cook enlisted the legendary landscape architect Frederick Law Olmsted to lay out the estate's gardens. Olmsted's plan took full advantage of the property's 380 acres. Sweeping lawns extended from the house down toward the lake, creating a picturesque pastoral scene. Curving walking paths wind through groves of mountain laurel, azaleas, and other plantings, offering both scenic beauty and pleasant shade. Directly behind the mansion, a broad stone terrace and formal gardens were designed for outdoor entertaining, at one time even used for open-air worship services and concerts under Georgie's ownership. Several outbuildings dotted the estate, supporting its operation and adding character. Perhaps most eye-catching was a 100-foot-high water tower built to supply the house. This tower was, for a time, the tallest structure in the Berkshires. By the turn of the 20th century, Henry H. Cook had achieved almost everything one could hope for in the American Gilded Age: immense wealth, social standing, and a portfolio of magnificent homes. In his later years, Cook increasingly withdrew from the hustle of New York City and spent more time in Lenox. It was at Wheatleigh that he spent his final years, surrounded by his daughter Georgie's growing family and the tranquil landscapes he loved. Cook lived out a comfortable retirement, passing away in 1905. In his will, he left each of his 5 daughters an inheritance of about $2.6 million, the modern equivalent of about $96 million each. He also left behind a collection of fine art, some of which he bequeathed to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Georgie and her husband continued to maintain Wheatleigh as a splendid summer retreat, all while living primarily in New York City. Under the Count and Countess, Wheatleigh remained a hub of Gilded Age social life, picking up right where Henry and Mary Cook had left off. Summers in Lenox were filled with garden parties, musicales, and extravagant entertainments that drew guests from high society. With Georgie's passing in 1946, however, the house left the family. Georgie left Wheatleigh to 2 nieces, and they promptly sold the property. Within 6 months, the new owners subdivided the holdings, reselling the mansion itself and the core 21 acres surrounding it to the Boston Symphony Orchestra for only $25,000. All the while, he carved up and developed the remaining 300-plus acres into separate parcels. In 1957, the BSO decided to consolidate its campus, and Wheatleigh was sold to new private owners who transformed the mansion into the Music Inn, a unique hotel and performance venue. By 1976, Wheatleigh's role evolved once again when it was sold and reimagined as a more romantic inn. Though the estate has changed hands several times, since the 1980s, Wheatleigh has solidified its reputation as one of America's premier small luxury hotels. The National Park Service recognized Wheatleigh's significance by listing it on the National Register of Historic Places, a designation that honors its architectural and historical value. Thankfully, this grand estate continues to be well maintained to this day. And with that, I'll turn it over to you. What did you think about Wheatleigh? Let me know down below in the comments section. My goal for this year is to reach 1 million subscribers. If you are among the 1 to 2 million monthly viewers of this channel who are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button and let's reach this goal together. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time on This House.